throws out suit seeking President Buhari's disqualification. Tribunal sacks 3 lawmakers for overvoting. And Kenya recovers bodies of tourists swept away by flood. Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Agoncha. The Supreme Court has disqualified a suit seeking the disqualification of President Muhammadu Buhari from the last presidential election for lying on oath. 3 Nigerians had approached the court claiming that President Buhari lied on oath in the form CF001 he submitted to the Electoral Commission INEC for the 2019 polls. Ruling on the matter, the Apex Court agreed with the Court of Appeal and the Federal High Court, which had earlier ruled that the suit was statute barred. The Federal High Court had on May 2nd declined to grant the request of the appellant on the grounds that the suit was not filed within the time allowed by law and therefore sustained the preliminary objection raised by President Buhari at the hearing. Still on judicial matters, the Electoral Petition Tribunal sitting in Oshogbo has nullified the election of 3 opposition lawmakers. 2 of those sacked are members of the Osun State House of Assembly, while the third is a member of the House of Representatives. One of those sacked by the tribunal is Bamidele Salam, who represents the federal constituency in the House of Representatives. Salam, who was elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, was sacked due to overvoting at some polling units in 4 local government areas of the state. The tribunal also ordered a rerun of election in Salam's unit and that of the other 2 affected lawmakers. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, alongside the Chief of Staff to the President Abba Kyari, earlier today met with President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja. Though the AGF declined to brief journalists on the purpose of the meeting, it is, however, believed that it centers on the controversial P&ID deal. After the meeting with the President, Malami met with Vice President Yemi Oshibajo. The meeting was focused on the latest developments surrounding the $9.6 billion judgment debt against Nigeria by a British court over a botched gas contract. Also in attendance at the meeting with the Vice President were the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Tempere Silva, and Minister of State for Niger Delta Affairs, Festus Keyamo, just to mention a few. Also at the meeting was Acting Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Magu, and Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Meanwhile, a coalition of civil society groups have staged a protest against the award of the $9.6 billion fine against Nigeria by a UK court following the botched oil deal with P&ID. Bearing placards with various inscriptions, the group marched to the British High Commission in Abuja. They are urging the UK government to intervene in the matter. Speaking at the UK Embassy, President of the group, Etuk Williams, and Secretary General Abubakar Ibrahim described the award as a travesty of justice and disrespect of the sovereignty of the Nigerian government. And in other news, the federal government has confirmed the attack on Nigerian businesses in South Africa. Over the weekend, reports had emerged that stores and businesses owned by Nigerians were set ablaze by unidentified persons in South Africa. Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema confirmed the incident in a tweet on his verified handle. He vowed that the Nigerian government will take decisive measures in dealing with the matter. The incident is coming days after President Cyril Ramaphosa assured Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari that actions were being taken to address the ongoing attacks on Nigerians in South Africa. And to security matters, several ISWAP fighters have been killed by troops of the multinational Joint Task Force in Tumbunrego, Borno State. In a statement, the force spokesperson, Colonel Timothy Antinga, revealed that weapons, ammunition, and logistics belonging to the terrorists were also destroyed during the operation. The incident occurred on Saturday as the terrorists were preparing to launch an offensive on the troops. In another development, ISWAP assets in Malam Zuberu and Alagano were also targeted and neutralized, while improvised explosive devices planted by the terrorists in Laikura were defused by troops. The Islamic State of West Africa province is an offshoot of the Boko Haram sect, which has been terrorizing communities in northeast Nigeria for about 10 years. The Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has asked President Muhammadu Buhari to place a ban on the activities of the Miyati Allah Cattle Breeders Association. The group is an umbrella body for herdsmen in the country. CAN President Samson Ayakunle made a demand at a stakeholders summit on the Ruga initiative. Ayakunle says the group should be banned for supporting some herdsmen suspected of carrying out various attacks across the country. The cleric also urged President Buhari to completely scrap the suspended Ruga grazing program for the sake of peace in the country. And some sections of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway have been closed for repairs. The closure took effect on Monday and will last till Thursday, October 31st. Following the closure, Lagos State Traffic Management has announced alternative routes for road users traveling in and out of Lagos. According to LASMA, the closure affects motorists moving inward towards Berger from Kara Bridge and those moving from Berger towards Kara Bridge. Travelers have now been advised to use the Lagos-Abeokuta and Ikorodu-Shagamu roads instead. The ECOWAS Parliament has emphasized on the need for member countries to educate and train young people as part of ways to stem the migration crisis rocking the region. Speaker of the Parliament, Mustafa Siselo, made a recommendation in Niamey, Niger Republic during the closing stage of the three-day Parliamentary Sensitization Forum on Migration in West Africa. Siselo maintained good governance remains the best way to encourage youths to pursue opportunities in their countries. He further recommended that tight restrictions on free movement in the process of migrating to be loosened, as this has in no small measure facilitated irregular migration phenomenon.
The responsibility that member states have to concretely address training and job creation for the youth, and this to reduce the temptations of immigration with all the risks, attendant risk. It is therefore useful for budgetary allocations to be revised upwards and for the necessary resources to be mobilized for that. We welcome the fact that as MPs from West Africa, we have to assume our responsibility by calling for renegotiation of the economic partnership agreements between West Africa and Europe in the area of migration. The fact that we soften the conditions for obtaining visas would encourage regular migration, which is a factor of cultural exchange and development both for the countries of origin and the host countries. It is also crucial for us as MPs to call on these countries to respect the human rights of migrants at all levels, including migrants in irregular situations.
Unemployment remains a major challenge for Nigeria's teeming population. With a drought in white-collar jobs, youth in the country have devised new ways to stay engaged and achieve financial freedom. In this next report, we find out how young Nigerians are maximizing the potentials of social media networks. For some Nigerians, surfing the internet and interacting on social media is much more than sharing photos and watching videos. In fact, it's a full-time job for Ando Damisa, also known as Lazy Writer. With a knack for curating and creating content for young and vibrant audience, Damisa has found a way to make every word count. Here is how it all began.
The dream started for me sometime in 2012. I wanted a blog where I could put I write, I love poetry, and I wanted to have a blog where I could put up my poetry to share with other people basically. So so that was how I came up with lazywriter.com. I was a little bit influential on social media. I had about, I think, 50,000 followers then, and people considered me funny. So I got a lot of followers. And my blog was doing quite well. I got about 1.2 million visits in the first month. And then an agency somewhere in Ikeja here in Lagos reached out to me, and they were like, oh, how much do you charge for a week to put up something on your page? And I'm like, okay, are you going to pay me to do something I love doing? And they said, yes, how much do you charge? And okay, they offered something, and for me it was acceptable. In fact, anything was acceptable for me then, because this was something I was doing for fun and someone was going to pay me to do it.
But make no mistake, it takes more than having a phone and internet connection to be a digital marketer and content creator.
I was able to do a lot of online and offline courses in social media, digital media, content creation. I mean, there's a whole lot of free courses you can do on YouTube, on Google. And all you have to do is search how to do this, how to do that. It's a digital age, so everything is out there. So for me, everything I've been able to learn, 90% of them I learned online.
Just like Damisa, more Nigerians are maximizing the potentials of the internet. Award-winning social media expert Tomiwa Talabi, for example, went from earning 1,000 naira monthly to working with world-class brands like Google. He says more opportunities still abound for digital marketers.
These days, a lot of people just work from the comfort of their homes, like they're on their bed, they're posting for brands and they're making money off it. That was not like that couple of years ago. You understand? There are even kids right now that review toys on YouTube, and they are worth millions of dollars, you understand? So I think it's still a work in progress. Some trends will still come into place, and I feel it's actually a great platform for business owners as well. I mean, a lot of people use social media to like drive traffic to their business and stuff. So I think it's still a work in progress. A lot of things will still come up in that particular space.
To Nigeria's 115 million active internet users who are considering a career in social media marketing, here's what the experts have to say.
So what I usually advise people who are up and coming and say, oh, okay, I want to be an influencer, I want to be a content creator, what I tell them is focus on a niche. So when you find a niche, give it all you have. If you are a food lover, let everyone know you are all about food.
You need to like pick a particular struggle. Don't be everywhere. So for example, you can narrow it down to maybe makeup or fashion or lifestyle or food. So you can just pick a particular niche. So if you choose food, for example, as time goes on, you get like food brands reach out to you. Maybe not food brands, but brands related to food. Like the likes of Maggie can call you and say, oh, I like what you do with food on your page. How about I pay you to put out this particular content on your page?
Damisa studied banking and finance, but he has built a career in social media marketing. He is currently the Chief Operating Officer of Devon Troy Copper, a digital communications agency based in Lagos. For many Nigerians who are grappling with unemployment, Damisa's story is an inspiration to convert time spent on social media into cash. Fidele Agoncha, TV360, Lagos.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Corruption not in my country. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
My name is Alero. I am not sick. I just need you to help put your stamp on this medical report. I want to tender it at my office as a sick leave. I'll pay 10,000 naira.
Ma'am, that is impersonation. I'm not a doctor.
Oga, be like say this English no go pay. I go increase the money to 20,000 naira. I beg. You know, if I give you that 20,000, as you wide so, you know, if it still help your condition more. So, you say you spread well.
As I spread like virus, I'll be.
You talk about.
Come out! If person come to your hospital, talk to me to give a fake medical report, make you go take collect sick leave. Talk and say, no, not corruption, not in my country.
Corruption, not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Welcome back. Well, let's now cross over to Oyin Adekunle for News in Business. Hello, Oyin.
Hi, Fidelia.
So tell me what's making headlines over there.
Well, Nigerians have been charged to patronize made-in-Nigeria products in order to create employment opportunities and improve the nation's economy. President of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mansour Ahmed, gave the charge at the group's annual general meeting in Lagos. This next report has more.
Assembled in this hall are locally made products from various manufacturing sectors in Nigeria. The exhibition, organized by the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, aims at bolstering patronage of made-in-Nigeria products and improving the economy.
The more we use made-in-Nigeria products, the more our producers, our manufacturers expand, the more they grow, the more they employ people, because if you double your production, you will double your employment, right? The more they also create wages and spread money in the economy. Also, the more they generate value in the economy as a whole, so the richer the country becomes. So actually, made in Nigeria, or consuming what you produce, or producing what you consume, is the best way to enrich your country, is the best way to spread wealth in the country, is the best way to alleviate poverty.
With various prototypes in display, Perfection Motors seems to be one of shoppers' delight. A representative of the company briefly speaks on their activities.
We assemble and we sell the FAW brand of trailer head trucks, or FAW brand of commercial vehicles. This is a prototype of what we do. For now, our core strengths are on trailer head trucks, and then trailer head trucks, then construction trucks also, the dump trucks. The trucks are assembled here in Nigeria, and that is why we are exhibiting at the Man Made in Nigeria Expo.
Also garnering attention are these wooden animal sculptures produced by Rhino Robotics. CEO of the company takes us through how each piece is assembled.
It's a computer numerical controller. It's an automatic machine. You program it, you give it what to do, and it should continually do it for you for as long as you want. So I built it myself, and I use it to create this stuff you're seeing. The animal, the shelf, and those Christmas decor. For anything at all, anything you want to do, it will do it for you. All you need to do is to get the card, create the card, and generate your CAM from it. Then from the CAM, you get your G code and use your code to run your machine.
The exhibition is part of activities lined up to mark the 47th Annual General Meeting of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. The AGM is focused on improving value chain in the sector.
The manufacturing activity cuts across many different stages called value chains. Maybe starting from an agricultural product, which is then semi-processed, and then finally processed and packaged into either consumable good or usable good. And it is important that at various levels of this value chain, there is enough capacity and enough support to integrate the various value chains so that value moves from the beginning to the end. And every participant in the value chain is well remunerated.
With the oncoming of African Continental Free Trade Agreement, there is need for each country to take advantage of the 1.2 billion people market that we have in Africa. So if you are not competitive, you will not be able to sell your products outside the country. And if you don't take advantage of the value chain that exists within your economy, you will not be able to compete in terms of price, and there will not be economies of scale.
Creating awareness on Made in Nigeria product is one of the many agendas of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. The exhibition will continue for the next 2 days with a roadshow scheduled to begin on Tuesday. Fidele Aguncha, TV360, Lagos.
Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, is sponsoring a bill that will prohibit the late payment or underpayment of staff salaries and other entitlements. According to the bill, employers who delay salary payments will now face penalties such as fines and imprisonment. If passed into law, the legislation will be binding on all Nigerians working as a full employee or contract staff or apprentice, either through oral or written agreements in the public and private sectors. Oil prices weakened on Monday after new tariffs imposed by the United States and China came into force, raising concerns about a further hit to global growth and demand for crude. Brent crude slipped 22 cents to $59.03 a barrel, while U.S. oil was down 2 cents at $55.08 a barrel. The United States began imposing 15% tariffs on a variety of Chinese goods on Sunday, including footwear, smartwatches, and flat panel televisions, as China puts new duties on U.S. crude, the latest escalation in a bruising trade war. U.S. President Donald Trump said both sides would still meet for talks later this month. Trump, writing on Twitter, said his goal was to reduce U.S. reliance on China, and he again urged American companies to find alternative suppliers outside of China. We'll take a look at activities on the stock market after this break. Please stay tuned. Investors in the Nigerian stock market lost a total of 1.5 trillion naira between January and August this year. Analysts say the declining crude oil price and fear of a possible global recession may have added pressures on the NSE, which has sustained a bearish trend in the last 3 months, only recording mega gains on days when investors embarked on bargain hunting activities. Now, away from all of that, the market actually opened for September on an optimistic note as investors are smiling to the bank today, having reaped about 19 billion naira following profit-taking activities. The market recorded an increase as the all-share index increased by 40 points to close at 0.14%. Meanwhile, a total turnover of 111.515 million shares worth 1.56 billion were traded today by investors on the floor of the market. And that's actually in contrast to almost 125 million shares valued at 1.8 billion that exchanged hands in previous session. And of course, the price gainers today have been quite consistent on the chart for a while now, about 2 weeks. And we see Nestle Cement Company of Northern Nigeria, Unilever, and UBA, I beg your pardon, all recording gains in the value of their share prices today. However, on the flip side, we see that the percentage laggards are also led by two of the largest equities in the market. Similar trend, Dangote Cement trailing MTN Nigeria, both losing 2.5 naira, 2 naira and 2.5 kobo respectively. And we also see that Dangote Sugar as well in the losers chart, and USC and both shedding 5 kobo each. And outside of Nigeria, FTSE and Dow Jones, of course, good day in FTSE and Dow Jones, but unfortunately, Asian markets fell in the wake of fresh US-China tariffs. And so that's it on business today. It's back to you, Fidelia.
Thank you so much, Oyin, for that update. It seems the NSE is trying to recover from all that losses, but let's see how it goes before the year runs out. Well, let's now move to the foreign scene. Kenyan authorities say they have recovered the bodies of 6 of 7 members of a tour group who were killed in a flash flood at Hell's Gate National Park. It said a search and rescue operation was continuing and authorities have sought to contact the next of kin. 6 tourists, 5 Kenyan and a foreigner, and their local guide were swept away in the flash flood as they were visiting the park on Sunday, part of a group of 13. 2 survivors from the group alerted the park rangers who sent out a search party. The deep gorge of the Hell's Gate Park are often lashed by heavy rains. In 2012, 7 young Kenyans drowned at the same spot in the Ojorowa Gorge in south of the park. And in sports, top-ranked defending champion Novak Djokovic retired with a shoulder injury after dropping the first 2 sets of Sunday's U.S. Open last 16 against Stan Wawrinka. Swiss 23rd seed and 2016 champion Wawrinka led Djokovic 6-4, 7-5, 2-1 when the Serb quit, having received treatment on his troublesome left shoulder before the start of the 3rd set. Djokovic, who has won 4 of the past 5 Grand Slam events and 16 overall, had struggled with a painful left shoulder during his 2nd round win over Juan Ignacio Londero. And that is on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Bye for now.